Okay. Michael, how can we change, because all of this points to the budgeting process and implementation process. What do we do to change all of this?
I mean, I actually totally agree with what Paul just said. I mean, the narrative is just clear. I mean, you can't create jobs without the necessary structure in place. I mean, we've spoken about education. We've spoken about health, the health sector. Okay? We've spoken about some other areas as well. If we don't really focus on all these areas, we're not going to get jobs done or create jobs. Now, let's start from the areas of education, for example. We have majority of our students who are meant to have graduated with skills still sitting at home. Okay? Now, they have no hope if they're when next they're going to go back to university or to their various tertiary institutions.
So they don't know when they're going to graduate.
They don't even know when they're going to graduate. So now, when you don't have a future or a hope to do something or to get something, you can't prepare for anything. There are things, rudiments that surround the educational system that provide for all the sector. The food seller, the artisans, and so on and so forth. They are all now jobless. So when they're jobless, they're out of job because the school are shut. Who pays the tax? Nobody pays the tax. So they add to the number of unemployed people out there. If you go to the health sector as well, the infrastructure are dilapidating every single day. The budget we have for the health sector is only 4%. That isn't what the World Bank actually, or UNESCO actually projected. Now, if you go to other climes that they have a higher, on an annual basis, budget for the health system, the reason why they even have a higher budget for the health sector is because they already have a planned, a well-structured health facilities in place. So the budget that comes in is just used to maintain and to upgrade what they have. We don't even have anything. What we have can't even serve the people. Do you know how much of our revenue that goes out on the health budget every year? We spend billions of dollars every single year going out of this country to spend on our health. That's number one. There's something that we call health tourism. When you go to do a health check, for example, in the UK, for example, you're not only going to be spending the money on your health to check your health, you're spending on accommodation, you're spending on transportation, you're spending on food, you're spending on shopping, and a lot of that. That is health tourism revenue. So when we actually look at ourselves and build and invest heavily in that, people will be thinking, if I invest all this money in the health sector, what does it bring to bring in as revenue? It brings in a lot of revenue. Number one is it saves our foreign currencies, it saves our revenue, and when people comes in to actually use our health system or our health sector, they come in to spend money, not only for the hospital or the health centers, but as health tourism expenses as well, which is a revenue for us as well. Similarly, look back in the 60s and the early 70s. We have people that come to this country for our educational system, to come study at the university. University of Ife then, UI then, University of Lagos then, ABU. But now, what we're having, immigration of people going out of the country to go spend our money out there. That is, we're losing revenue. We're losing jobs. So we need to actually prioritize a way of creating skill to acquire skills. Look at India. India has over 1 billion people. What are they doing with their people? They actually invest heavily in skill acquisition. When you talk about medicine and ICT, India is taking the lead. How are they taking the lead in this? They invest heavily to create an avenue to actually ensure that a lot of their citizens acquire skills in ICT and medicine. So after they take in the best for themselves, the rest are being exported out to other countries to go make money for them.
Now, Paul, he's talking about our education and our health, but I want to focus specifically on the education part. It looks like in our country now, everybody wants to go to university. Is it not time for us to begin to rejig the curriculum so that we're actually producing the kind of labor that we need?
I agree with you, Ma. Totally, I agree with you. University is not what university shouldn't be everybody's business. We don't all need to go to the university. We need a lot of people at technical schools, colleges of education, polytechnic, and university. In fact, the most important education is primary education. After that is secondary education. The priority should be on primary education. And when you look at out-of-school children survey, it focuses majorly on primary and maybe to some extent junior secondary education. So, but if everybody wants to go to the university, the question we should ask is, why do everybody want to go to university? Because people believe that if they have technical college certificates, people will say you don't have enough certificates. So because I have nothing to do, let me go to polytechnic. And if I still don't have something to do, let me go to university and obtain first degree. If I still don't have something to do, then let me go have master's degree. And it's on and on and on like that. The new game right now is everybody wants to school abroad, because it is perceived that when you school abroad and you come back home, then there is that job that those that school in Nigeria, because of how we have all bastardized, how we have all spoken about local education, Nigerian school system, that is not important. So it's only those that have schooled abroad have quality education, even though this university they've gone to is in Burundi or is in the Republic of Benin or is in Ghana, will be that so long as it's foreign degree or foreign, particularly degree, so long as it's foreign degree, come back home. But when you put them a job, when you put them in the marketplace, and you wonder, did you truly school abroad? Have you gone abroad to school? So the question is, it is self-development, human development. What is required? Many universities today require tables and chairs and benches. I think government should make policy at federal and state level that those that own those companies are normal persons, say people that if they must have certificates, we should deliberately tie job to technical school. I realized your state government started a technical school not so long ago. How do we tie job to such school? The technical school don't need to be a university. You don't have to call it a degree. That is when it now becomes relevant. In the 50s and 60s, technical school actually got more jobs. You don't have to be university. And until we change some of these narratives, then you will need to pay more professors. Then you will have about 460 billion to pay to lecturers and so on and so forth. Now, to be a lecturer is not wrong. To be a professor is not wrong. But I think the number we have in our university is just too much. Some persons are not, they are not meant for university. Some persons are actually meant to be technical persons. And they should work and also achieve the peak of their career. But the challenge with that, you see the fight between medical doctors and pharmacists. So if you're a doctor, we say we can be consultant. Pharmacy cannot be consultants. So you see, we have a whole lot of issues I think we need to resolve. And in resolving it, we should not be biased to any sector. Then you see more people will voluntarily opt out going forward to say, since more jobs is available here. Before now, everybody wants to be a banker. Right now, people now say, I want to work in telecom. Oh, no, I'm not working in telecom again. So, you see, as economy is changing, it's also informing the choices parents are giving to their children. Right now, many parents want their children to do something related to ICT. 20 years ago, that was not the case. 30 years ago, that was not the case. The more the economy is emerging from one pattern to another, then it also informs the kind of job. Nigeria has sits on golden opportunity perhaps to be the world's best economy because of demand and because of our size. If you look at our consumption pattern, most of the things we consume come from abroad. You are wearing beautiful abada or beautiful Ankara there, but I'm not sure if the fabric of the Ankara comes from Nigeria. How do we connect jobs to our textiles mill such that Nigerians or the people who are in school, college of education, polytechnic particularly, could also be part of that? I mentioned some people could also reduce government costs in the short run and more importantly in the long run. Those students in the university that are in school and polytechnic and colleges of education, how do we attach them to ongoing projects, construction site deliberately, and form part of their grades so that when they leave school, they don't necessarily need to look for jobs because of the kind of education that they might have received as practical example as what they might have received. What we believe is that when you see a white-skinned person, and without being partial to any race, when some Nigerians see that somebody is white-skinned and is on a construction site, people seem to have the notion that the road will be better than the one that maybe the person that is not white-skinned. We don't have to want to feel a gully, and we bring foreigners to do that, for God's sake. We have a lot of persons that have read engineering. I believe Nigerians themselves can do this. What that means is when you import something from abroad, you are making 3 decisions. Number 1, you are sending your money away. It has implication on your foreign reserve, so it will go down. Number 2, you are receiving product or service, which will stay with you and may fizzle away if it's not produced as product. Number 3, you are giving job away, which is the most painful part.
Okay. No. We have to start winding down. Yeah. So quickly now, let's look at the timing of this thing. We keep mouthing the fact that we want to revert to a January to December fiscal year.
Indeed, there's a law to that effect.
And then the president is presenting the budget on the 19th of December. So how much time would the National Assembly have said that they require at least minimum of 3 months to be able to look at the budget before they can even pass it? So what is the implication of this for our economy? And are we indeed trying to revert to a January to December fiscal year? Are these the signs that tell you that we are actually planning to return to a January to December?
Quickly, before I come to that question, just to buttress a little bit in 2 minutes to what...
No, in half a minute.
In half a minute to what he just said earlier. I mean, we're so much focused on universities, tertiary education. University is not for everybody. That's why we have polytechnic and most especially technical education. Now, majority of this economy now, if you look at it, is based now on construction, building, and so on and so forth, bridges and so on and so forth. Now, what happens to all the people that should be at the base of all this, doing this job for? Like I said, we go to bring foreigners to do the job for us. Meanwhile, we could develop a structure whereby our technical schools could actually produce people to actually bring out all these people. Right? Now, our NYSC, for example, we talk about education. Look at our educational system. Okay? Now, we're not going through, we should have an overhaul structure of our educational system whereby we should be studying the courses that actually matters to the economy. Not just any subject and graduating in any subject. Okay? And finally, I beg your pardon, finally, the NYSC system we have should be scrapped. I stand to be, for anyone to actually come against this. Do you know why? When people graduated from biology, from economics, and so on and so forth, and they go to the NYSC to serve, they're supposed to be posted to relevant areas of the economy of what they actually study, where they could actually be beneficial to the economy and to the actually graduate themselves.
Mr. Deleye, we've run completely out of time. I did warn you. Okay. We've run completely out of time.
January to December, it's not feasible for me as an economist to be having our budget all the time.
Thank you very much. We have been speaking to 2 economists, Mr. Michael Adeleye, who was with us in our studio in Lagos, as well as Mr. Paul Alaje, who spoke to us from our studio in Abuja. Thank you very much for coming to share your insights with us this morning.